Good morning, Michael.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Now, how did the consultations go? How many people do you think you saw?
Well, they were very successful, actually. On the first day, we had around 100 people, and it kept at similar numbers for the next 5 days. So all up, we saw about 500 people.
Okay, now, did it also mean that people speak directly with you or staff members about what their options are, or did they have to put it down on paper so that you can then collate the results?
We provided a number of options. The purpose of the pop-ups was to educate the community on what the options were. So we weren't trying to talk the community into anything in particular. We were trying to give them information. So we had displays on the 8 options, and I've got to say 6 of those options are not really feasible. They're unlikely to attract a grant.
Well, why were they put on display if they weren't feasible?
They were put up to show that we had looked at every option. We didn't want people coming in and saying, well, why didn't you investigate this option or that option? The reality is that we could have put lines everywhere and investigated all of them. And there were several community members who said, what about this alternative option, which we've taken on board, and we will look at those.
Okay, most people aren't. It's not of course, the replacement of the Cedar Party Bridge per se that they're worried about. It's losing the pool at the same time. How many of those options included, I suppose, saving or keeping the pool?
Well, out of the 8 options, as I said, 6 were not really feasible. So there are 2 options which are essentially feasible. One replaces the existing bridge in the same location that it is at a higher level, and the alternative is to direct the traffic around in a sweeping movement to the right, which is where 65% of the traffic goes, and that option goes through the pool. And I've been clear to everyone that I have spoken to, and I probably spoke to around 100 of those 500 people. It is Council's preferred option to go through the pool, but the consultation is to provide the public with the opportunity to give us their viewpoints, let us know what they are thinking.
And what was the other option?
Well, there were 2 options.
That's what you said. There were 2 feasible. Number one was to replace the bridge, but it would demolish the pool. It would go through the pool. What was the second one?
No, there's one that goes directly where the current bridge is, straight across. It comes to a roundabout where the current intersection is, and that doesn't impact on the pool.
Okay.
The other one swings around in a curve. It would be a curved bridge. It swings around to the right through the pool, and that sits just to the right of the current bridge.
So do people, have they had the chance to say specifically which option they would most prefer?
Yeah, we had a survey form in hard copy there available. We have our website available so they can fill in the survey online. And they've all given us verbal feedback. And what we got from that feedback, once people work through the logic of what Council has gone through to come up with the preferred options, they can see why we prefer the option to go through the pool. So,
but which option do most people prefer?
The majority, once they go through the process and they have the explanation of the alternatives, they are accepting of the one that goes through the pool.
Okay, so
can I say,
yep.
The advantage of the one going through the pool is that we will include a replacement pool in the grant application. So the current pool is nearing the end of its life.
That wasn't part of the original project, was it? The pool wasn't... I think if they were going to get a pool, they wouldn't have been so unhappy about losing the existing pool because it would be replaced. So is that something you've retrofitted or added into the project?
No, the original project was to replace the bridge. The pool didn't come into the
That's right.
contention.
Yep.
When we looked at options, we found this option, which is by far the best option. And that was always part of that option. Once we found that the best option for traffic movements was to go through the pool, a pool replacement was always part of that option.
Okay, we've heard it's pretty expensive to replace the pool. Who will pay for that?
It is part of the grant application.
Okay.
And we've spoken to the Roads and Maritime Services about whether they would fund that as part of the project, and they have specifically said, yes, if that is an integral part of the project, they will fund the replacement as part of the bridge upgrading.
What is the cost appended to the replacement of the pool, if you break it down a bit?
We've done some preliminary costings, and we've allocated $1.5 million to the replacement of the pool. Now, that doesn't include any land costs, so if council needs to purchase a block of land to put the new pool on, that will have to be borne by council. But our estimates are that $1.5 million will replace the pool as it is at the moment, which is a 50-metre pool, a children's toddler's pool, and a smaller pool.
Do you have a preferred site for the pool?
We don't yet. That will be a separate consultation. We have a number of options, and we've spoken to people over the last few days about options. We didn't want the bridge project to be distorted by the discussion of where the pool is being located. Yes, it is being sidetracked by discussion on whether the pool will be replaced, but we didn't want it to go off on a tangent as to where the pool is going to be placed.
Well, yeah, okay. Where the pool is actually going to be. Nevertheless, people are concerned about losing the pool. They're happy to get a second bridge. If they could get a new pool, I think they'd be equally as happy. Would the pool be built in conjunction with the bridge, like at the same time? If it's funded by the RMS, then you've got the money, so would you then commence the building of the pool as well as the bridge?
Yes, certainly. We would receive advance notice that we're eligible for the grant, so we can commence some negotiations on land acquisition prior to the grant being allocated. We certainly wouldn't buy land if that was the need prior to receiving the grant, but we could certainly commence negotiations. And we have actually spoken to other people about acquiring land at this stage.
And
yes, we don't envisage that the Wingham community will be without a pool as a result of this process.
So have you made a decision about which process you're going to go through then? You're going to do the curved, the second option, which you may have already wanted to do that all along, but you just wanted to find out what the community says. But if you, as you said, that they've seen the logic and they understand that maybe that's the way it's got to go, but if we get a new pool out of it, that's well and good as well. So have the decision been made from your point of view?
No, the decision hasn't been made. We haven't seen the responses. While we've been out there, a lot of people have left their responses with us, but we haven't had a chance to go through those. Now, it may be that there's an overwhelming result when we look at the responses that no one wants to have a curved bridge. Everyone wants the traffic out of town. That will all be taken on board, and it will be a decision of the administrator as to which option we then go to detailed design with.
So it'll be John Turner's decision finally, will it?
Not finally. It will be John's decision on what we continue with detailed design work with, but ultimately acceptance of the grant, that will be after the new council is elected.
But if the public, let's say, overwhelmingly vote for the new bridge with a pool to be replaced, will you push or lobby John Turner to select that option?
We will certainly write a report. Once we've considered all the submissions, we will write a report to John recommending a course of action, whether that is the curved bridge through the pool or the bridge replacement where it is at the moment. That's still to be decided, depending on the submissions. But it will result in a report to John for his decision on what we proceed to detailed design with.
And just lastly, the overall cost of the project, is it big enough to... will it need to go before the Joint Regional Planning Panel?
No, it won't. It's $19 million, but it's not a development that would go to the Joint Regional Planning Panel.
So the final decision would be made by John Turner at MidCoast?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so when do you anticipate you'll have a report to put in front of him and that he will make a decision? I know you probably can't give a specific day, but a kind of a time frame on that.
No, we would expect it to go to the June council meeting, and from there, once we get a decision, we can commence the detailed design work. And can I say, there was a lot of discussion on whether $1.5 million that we've allocated for the pool is sufficient, and that will come out in the detailed design work. We will do detailed estimates, which will include the cost of replacement.
But it still covers
that comes out If that comes out at $2.5 million, then that's the figure that will go into the grant application.
Okay, let's wait and see what happens. Look, thank you for joining us this morning. I'll be interested to see the more, I suppose, detailed breakdown of those results. Will you be posting them on the council's website?
It will all be part of the council report.